This is Optimal Health Daily, episode 2009. Hire a coach to fast-track results. Even coaches need coaches. By Leah Genders of leahgendersfitness.com. And I'm Dr. Neil, your host and narrator. Welcome back to Optimal Health Daily, or OHD, where I act as your narrator of popular health and fitness blogs and provide my commentary at the end. And with that, let's get right to it and start optimizing your life. Hire a coach to fast-track results. Even coaches need coaches. By Leah Genders of leahgendersfitness.com. Some people are surprised to hear that I hired a trainer. Aren't you a personal trainer? Why do you need to hire a trainer? Although I am a trainer, it doesn't mean I automatically know everything training related. I am a running coach and personal trainer that specializes in strength training for runners. When I need help with barbell training, I hired a barbell coach. The best coaches hire coaches. Why? Because coaches are objective, can fill in gaps of knowledge, minimize the learning curve, and provide accountability and feedback so that you can reach new levels. A coach views your training objectively. It's often hard to look at your training objectively. While I am quick to spot overtraining in my clients, I might not choose to see it in myself. If a client tells me they have a pain, I'll change the exercise or target mobility exercises. But if I have the same pain, I may try to work through it. Just because I know better doesn't always mean I always do better. A professional's outside perspective is an enormous advantage because we are human and subject to personal biases. A coach can reveal blind spots and keep your ego in check. A coach can fill in gaps of knowledge. I decided to hire a strength coach a month after starting a new barbell training program. After a few weeks, I realized that to continue to progress effectively and safely, I'd need some help. Barbell training is highly technical. The first time I read the Starting Strength Barbell Training book several years ago, I remember longing for willful ignorance. The chapter on squatting was 64 pages long. If I previously thought that loading a bar on my back and bending my knees with my hips back equaled a squat, I was misinformed. After reading the book, I knew too much to ignore it, but it seemed too technical to make meaningful progress on my own. It's okay not to know everything, but when you know better, you must do better. Who better to fill in the gaps of knowledge than a subject matter expert? Go right to the source. A coach minimizes the learning curve. I can read a barbell training textbook, but reading doesn't always translate to performing. I knew a coach could help me minimize the learning curve. The most crucial step in your training plan to avoid wasted time and effort and to prevent injuries from improper movement or training may be to understand when you can do it alone and when you need help. I started the program, watched the videos, read the books, the blogs, and listened to the podcasts. But reading, watching, and listening is not the same as applying effectively. My first concern is safety and then progression. I wanted to be sure, as I added weight to the bar, I wasn't potentially causing more harm than good. Then, even if I felt I had the basics covered in my research and experience, I didn't want to waste any unnecessary time on a learning curve. I knew I'd benefit from working with an expert directly on what I needed to learn, rather than spending months with less than effective methods. A coach fast-tracks progress. I spent a couple of hours with Coach Trent at Fort Worth Strength and Conditioning in Keller, Texas, learning the starting strength method of barbell training with 4 lifts: squat, overhead press, deadlift, and bench press. While I have been performing some of these moves for a while, I knew right away this training session was money well spent. Trent's coaching cues and lessons on proper mechanics, stance, grip, breathing, and tension made an immediate difference. I had a few aha moments and was able to connect the dots between what I read and how to properly execute. A coach provides feedback. Coach Trent broke down each lift and corrected my form, helped me determine my baseline working sets, and set up a plan to follow. I can take what I learned in 2 hours with Trent to effectively practice the moves. If I spent months performing a move ineffectively, then I am only practicing ineffectiveness. If I spend the time and money working with an expert, I can be sure that I am getting the most out of the work I do. That is money well spent. A coach provides accountability. After my session with Trent, I'll practice what I learned and follow up with form videos in a couple of weeks to make sure I stay on track. No matter how self-motivated you are, having outside accountability can propel success. Barbell training is a skill. You don't have one coaching session and become an expert. It's the time you put in week after week, month after month, year after year that dictates your results. Coaches need coaching as much as anyone else. If I didn't see the value in coaching, how could I be an effective coach myself? Once you think you know everything, you stop growing. Coaching isn't cheap, it's valuable. How much is your time worth? What is wasting time and ineffective movement costing you? You just listened to the post titled, Hire a Coach to Fast Track Results. Even Coaches Need Coaches by Leah Genders of leahgendersfitness.com. Dr. Neal here for my commentary. I want to repeat something that today's author Leah said because it was said so perfectly. When it comes to truly mastering anything, reading, watching, and listening are not the same as applying effectively. Think about when you were learning math in school. Okay, well, don't think too hard about it in case it brings back stressful memories. But do you remember how it wasn't enough to just watch your teacher perform calculations on the board? You may have thought you knew how to solve those problems, but the real test was when you were asked to solve them on your own. You had to actually apply the concepts. But then again, it wasn't enough to just work on the problems either. You had to get feedback to make sure you applied the concepts correctly. The same thing happens when it comes to learning proper exercise form. You can read all of the books you want, watch all of the videos, and listen to every podcast, but it's still not enough. You have to actually practice those moves and have someone that knows better provide you with feedback so you know whether you're doing things correctly. Oh, and if you were wondering whether I, like today's author, ever hired a trainer for myself, yes, absolutely, and multiple times. All right, that'll do it for today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for the Wednesday show where your optimal life awaits.